Hello all. Today we're talking about the elements and molecules that make up every living thing. Let's begin with some review and then we'll talk about what builds life on Earth. First, let's talk about matter. Matter is anything that has volume and mass. In other words, anything that is made of stuff and takes up space. Atoms themselves are really small. I mean, like really small, infinitesimally small. If you lined up the atoms side by side across a width of one single strand of your hair, you could fit about a million atoms side by side. So they're small. Atoms themselves are the basic structures of all matter that retain its property, but even atoms can be broken down into smaller particles. Positively charged protons and negatively charged neutrons make up the center or nucleus of every atom, and then negatively charged electrons fly around the nucleus at speeds approaching the speed of light. It is these charges that often help these atoms bond together. To help us understand atoms and molecules, using Legos is kind of a useful analogy. Atoms are like individual pieces. Just like there are different types of pieces, colors, and connection points, there are different types of atoms. We call these different types elements. Hydrogen is an example of a type of element. Its defining characteristic is that it has only one proton in its nucleus. Many elements do not exist in a pure state by themselves. Instead, they have a tendency to stick together or bond. When two or more atoms bond together, a molecule is formed. It is the molecules that really build the structures of life, not just single atoms, but molecules. Let's learn about some of the most common elements and molecules found in all living things. So you may have heard that we and other life on Earth are carbon-based life forms. This is because all living things are made of molecules, and many of those molecules contain carbon, the element carbon, at their core. Carbon is the second most abundant element in your body, just behind oxygen. When molecules have carbon at their cores, they are called organic molecules. But why carbon? Carbon is often called the backbone of life. Because of the number of electrons surrounding carbon, they can form strong bonds with many other elements, including themselves. And you'll notice that carbon is number 6 on this periodic table of elements, just as a useful way of organizing elements. Carbon is on the second row in blue. Because of the number of electrons surrounding carbon, they have a tendency to form strong bonds with many other elements, including themselves. This ability allows carbon to create a wide variety of complex molecules. These molecules include carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids, which are all crucial for life. Nucleic acids, by the way, part of DNA. Carbon's unique bonding properties make it the central element in organic chemistry, which is the study of carbon-containing compounds. But carbon is not alone. Here are 3 of the most other abundant elements in all living things. And you'll notice that many of these are close on the periodic table of elements for similar reasons. They like to bond with other elements. Hydrogen. Hydrogen is the smallest element way up there in the top left corner. It has only one proton, but it packs a punch. It likes to connect to other elements in molecules. Oxygen, also similar to carbon, likes to form those bonds. It's really essential for energy in living things. Nitrogen is an essential building block for proteins, give it structure. So those are just 3 of the most common elements found in living things, and they're all found very close to each other on the periodic table of elements, and that is because they have similar properties. They like to bond with other elements. So here are some common organic molecules. First, we have carbon dioxide, which is just one carbon bonded with two oxygens. So this is a very simple organic molecule. Methane is one carbon bonded with four hydrogen atoms. But most organic molecules are not so simple. Our bodies are made up of very complex organic molecules. Here are three examples: lipids, carbohydrates, and proteins. So, in summary, an atom is the basic unit of matter and the smallest particle of an element. Molecules are groups of two or more atoms that are held together by chemical bonds. Organic molecules always have carbon atoms, usually bonded with hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, or other elements. Living things are made up of complex organic molecules such as lipids, carbohydrates, and proteins.